The excavator next door sounded like a grinder on steel. Scoop, hiss, slam. The same noise again and again, chewing up the yard like it hated the earth. Charlie leaned on my porch rail with a beer and a bad idea. $50 says you won't even make it to her top step, he said. I did not answer. I was watching the grass along the fence. The ground there was not right. It looked flat, but when the light hit it, I could see a small shimmer where water sat. The soil was soft where it should have been firm. Bad drainage. Hidden void. A future problem. A bright banner hung on the construction fence. Apex Residential. Different division from mine. I built high-rises, not condos. Not my project. Not my circus. That was my rule. The front door of the house next to mine opened. Renata Albright stepped out on her porch like a beam built straight. No bend, no sag. She wore a navy cap and a red jersey over a white tank top. Her eyes were locked on the trench the excavator had cut along her side yard. She looked like she was measuring it with anger. My pulse jumped once, the kind of sharp jolt I got on sight when a load swung too close to a man. Charlie smirked. "Go on," he said. "Ask her out." "I observe," I said. "I do not perform." That was true most nights. Still, I walked down my steps and crossed the yard. The ground gave under my boots near the fence. Soft, not good. I filed that feeling away. Renata did not come down from her porch. She stayed at the top of the stairs and watched me like I was a problem, asking to be solved. "What?" she asked. "I'm Carter. Your neighbor." I kept my voice even. "Coffee. Dinner. Something that does not include you staring at a trench until your blood pressure spikes." Her mouth curved, but it was not friendly. "Look, Carter," she said. "I do not have time for a neighbor date with a guy who thinks charm fixes structural failures." She pointed at my chest like she was tagging me on a plan set. "So unless you have a solution for 5 tons of shifting limestone, you better not waste my time." She turned toward the door. "The limestone is not the problem," I said. She paused, slowly turned back. "Excuse me?" she said. "The wall is taking load it was never built for," I said, nodding toward the big retaining wall along her side yard. "The dirt behind it is full of water. Hydrostatic pressure. When water has nowhere to go, pressure builds fast. If it spikes again, that wall will not slide, it will punch." Ugh. Her eyes sharpened. Like she had just heard a language she understood. 10 minutes later, we were in her backyard. Mud on my boots. Tape measure in my hand. Because problems do not wait for good timing. A man in a beige suit stood on the wet ground in clean shoes like the mud feared him. He smiled like a salesman. "Vance," Renata said, her voice tight. "He represents the group trying to buy me out." He held out his hand to me. I did not take it. "Miss Albright," he said, "the offer stands until midnight." "I am not selling," she said. "Sentiment is expensive," he replied. "Take the money, walk away. Avoid liability." Renata's fingers tightened on a folder she held. Her eyes stayed on him, but when she spoke, she talked to me. "This house is my office," she said. "My crews load materials out of the garage. It is collateral." She tapped the folder. "Equipment loans, trenchers, compactors, small loader, personal guarantees. If the city tags this place, my loan covenants trigger. The bank freezes my lines. They take the machines. My company dies." Vance already knew all that. It was the reason he was here. "Midnight," he repeated. "After that, the offer drops." He walked away like the ground did not dare trip him. Renata let out one hard breath. "Before you say, call the city." "I did," she said. "I filed complaints. The inspector says the project meets grade. Apex says my wall is old." Everyone points at someone else. "I am not here to point," I said. "Show me the failure." She hesitated. I could see her not trusting a man who sounded calm when everything else was falling apart. Then she turned and led me toward the wall. By late afternoon, the sky turned dark purple. Wind pushed through the trees like a warning. Storm coming. We stopped at the retaining wall. Damp stains ran along the base like bruises. "After the last storm, water came through the joints," she said. "My basement smelled like wet drywall." I crouched and pressed my palm to the stone. It was cold and full of water. A wall should not feel like a sponge. "Where does their runoff go?" I asked, nodding toward the new build next door. "South culvert," she said. "On paper." I went to a bent section of fence and looked. The slope was wrong. Just a few degrees, but wrong enough. Water would run straight at her wall instead of away. I pulled out my phone and opened the level tool. It was not enough. Phones lie. "I need better," I muttered. I jogged back to my house, grabbed my laser level and a folding measuring rod, and was back in under a minute. Renata watched as I set up the tripod. "You just have that," she said. "I do not like guessing," I said. The red laser line cut across the yard, clean and straight. The numbers on the rod told the story. Their side sat higher than it should. Not by much, but enough. A sharp crack snapped through the air. Not thunder. Stone. Renata's head whipped toward the sound. Her breath caught. The wall bulged along a long joint, just an inch. But that was how failure started. "Inside," I said. She started to argue. I closed my hand around her wrist, firm, not rough. I met her eyes. She read what she needed there and moved. Agency sometimes needs someone to point at the exit. The basement air hit damp and cold. A thin sheet of water was already sliding across the concrete toward stacks of boxes and sample boards. The sump pump coughed and went quiet. "It was new," she said, staring at it like it had betrayed her. "New does not mean protected," I said. I checked the breaker box and found the tripped switch. Reset it. The pump sputtered back to life, weak but running. "Not enough," I said. I ran up the stairs and across to my garage. Came back with a portable utility pump, extra hose, and a bucket of fittings. I dropped the intake in the lowest point, primed it, and flipped the switch. The little pump roared and started pulling water away. Renata moved fast, lifting boxes, stacking samples on shelves, saving what she could. She did not scream. She did not freeze. She just worked, eyes sharp, mind already making a new plan under pressure. The lights flickered once, twice. I shut off the basement breaker with one clear motion. "No power while the floor is wet," I said. "We are not adding shock to the list." Renata swallowed. "If the wall goes?" she asked. "It will not," I said. I was not sure, but someone in the room had to sound certain. Outside, the rain hit hard and fast, hammering the ground. Through the small basement window, I saw a worker's staple, a bright notice to the fence on her side. When we went back upstairs, Renata ripped it down. Her face went white. "Condemnation notice," she said. "They are calling my wall unsafe." I took it from her and scanned it. City letterhead, date. A signature that looked more like a print than ink. The timeline was too fast. The wording felt wrong. "Too quick," I said. "Too neat. Too convenient." Morning light made everything worse. Her yard looked tired and uneven. A faint sink line ran parallel to the wall. The wall had not fallen, but it had spoken. I set up the laser again and shot more elevations. I marked stakes with string, wrote numbers on tape like a ledger. "You have a grade inversion," I said. "Their side is higher than plan. The runoff is being sent to your wall." Renata narrowed her eyes. "Even if you are right, Apex will not listen," she said. "And I am not signing anything from your company." "I am not here as Apex," I said. "You work for Apex," she shot back. "Commercial megastructures," I said. "I build towers. Residential does their own thing. I did not even know this was their site until I saw the banner." She watched my face for a long second, testing. Then she looked away, like it annoyed her that what I said made sense. A car door slammed. Vance walked up the side yard with a clipboard and a man carrying a camera. "We are documenting the unsafe condition," Vance said, his tone bright. "Liability needs records." "Get off my property," Renata snapped. "I am on the easement," he said, "and still offering a clean exit. One tag from the city, and your loans lock." Your crews walk. You lose everything. Quote. Her fist clenched. She stepped forward, anger rising. I took half a step in front of her. No big show, just a quiet wall. Back up, I said to Vance. You are not documenting. You are trying to shape a story. His eyes dropped to my belt, where my Apex badge still clipped. Interesting, he said. Apex employees meddling in private property disputes. I am not meddling, I said. I am measuring. He leaned in a little. You cannot out-stubborn a bank, Mr. Hayes, he said. Her address is the choke point. You cannot fix that. He was right about one thing. The address was the lever. You are betting on collapse, I said. I am betting on what always happens, he replied, smiling. Midnight. He walked away. Renata's shoulders sagged a little. Not broken. Just tired. He is right, she said. If the city tags the house, I am done. I cannot just walk away. I cannot absorb this hit. Then we do not let them write the record alone, I said. We prove cause, drainage, pressure, survey. We turn his story into math. Quote. She looked at me like I had just offered to hold up her roof with my bare hands. Fine, she said, but I do not want hero speeches. I want results. Good, I said. So do I. She took a breath. So what now? She asked. Now, I said, we build a case. And we had less than 48 hours to do it before the next storm, and that wall decided for us. The city inspector showed up that afternoon in a small white car. Bright vest. Clipboard. Bored expression. He walked like a man who had done this 100 times and did not plan to think hard this round. Vance arrived at the same time, like a shadow that owned nice shoes. He stood just behind the inspector, hands at his pockets, smiling like this was all a formality. The inspector tapped the retaining wall with his knuckles like he was checking fruit at a grocery store. Looks compromised, he said. Based on what? Renata asked. Visible bulge. Seepage. Safety risk, he said. His tone was flat. Routine. He reached for the red tag in his folder. I stepped in. Do you have pre-construction photos? I asked. Baseline surveys. Any checks on drain points or backfill? Test results? Anything besides eyeballs? The inspector blinked at me. He was not used to that kind of question from a neighbor in a gray t-shirt. Sir, I follow procedure, he said. Procedure needs data, I said. I held out the sheet with my laser readings. These are elevations across both lots. Grade falls toward her wall. The runoff from their side is being delivered here. That matters. Vance cut in fast. Mr. Hayes is not a party to this, he said. He works for Apex. This is not his division. He should not be involved. I am a neighbor whose foundation will be next if that wall goes, I said calmly. I am asking for a real inspection, not a tap test. The inspector looked at my numbers. He did not love it, but he slowed. Slowing was something. Fine, he said after a long moment. Reinspection in 48 hours. No tag today. I will note a concern and come back. He closed his folder. Do not alter the wall, he added. Any work before I return and the city steps back. He left. Vance's polite smile had cracks in it now. You bought a little time, Vance said. It will not change the ending. Renata did not answer him. She just watched him walk away. When he was gone, she let out a breath that sounded like it had been held for years. We have 48 hours, she said. Then we use all of them, I said. We worked like we had been a team for years. I set the laser and measured slopes. She walked the yard and traced water paths with flags and chalk. She dug small test holes and pressed the soil between her fingers. High clay, she said, holding up a pinch of gray earth. Holds water. Heavy when saturated. If they compacted this wrong, I said, the ground behind your wall is acting like a bathtub. It fills and stays full. The wall takes the load. She watched as I sketched a simple side view on a scrapboard. Wall, soil, arrows showing pressure. You talk about load like it is a person, she said. It is, I said. It pushes, it waits. It does not care about feelings. It cares about paths. Quote, By the time the sky went dark, we had string lines across the yard, stakes with tape, photos with timestamps, and my notebook full of numbers. "Come inside," she said finally. "You look like you are about to fall over." Her kitchen was bright and crowded with work. Sample boards leaned against the wall. Whiteboards full of projects and crew names covered one side. It was not a show house. It was a headquarters. She put a pan of lasagna on the counter. The edges were a little burnt, but the middle looked perfect. "I cook when I am angry," she said. "Sit." It smelled like garlic and cheese and something warm I could not name. We ate at the island, plates pushed up against her stack of invoices and my notes. Outside, rain drummed on the roof. Inside, it felt like a pause in the middle of a fight. After a few bites, she slid my rough sketch back across the counter. "Teach me," she said. "Load paths, pressure, the words you use. I have to speak this language when we face them." I picked up a pencil. "This is the wall," I said, drawing a straight line. "This is the soil pushing. This is extra weight from water. Hydrostatic pressure. It grows with depth. The deeper the water behind the wall, the harder it pushes." She leaned in, her shoulder almost touching mine. I could smell garlic on her breath and smoke in her hair. "So the wall does not fail because it is old," she said. "It fails because someone changed the world around it." "Exactly," I said. "They raised their grade. Now the water comes at you." Renata took the pencil from my hand. Her fingers brushed mine, firm and sure. "And if the soil is clay," she said, "then drain lines need rock or something that does not hold water. Fabric. Roots that hold the slope." I smiled before I could stop myself. "You were listening," I said. "I run sites," she said. "They just do not usually try to drown me." We cleared the plates. She set a thick binder of old plans on the counter and slapped her palm on it. "Okay," she said. "Quiz me." I opened to a page with the footing detail. "Read it," I said. She squinted. "Footing 8 in." She started, then caught herself. "No 8 feet. The little mark is feet." I always mix those. "Units," I said. "Always respect units. One bad unit and a bridge falls." She rolled her eyes at herself. "Again," she said. 10 minutes later, she was calling out, "Stem wall, backfill, surcharge." Without hesitation. Her eyes were bright and sharp. She liked learning, liked fighting with tools that fit. Then she pushed a mason jar toward me. It had 3 layers of soil inside. Dark top, tan middle, gray bottom. "Your turn," she said. "Which layer kills the wall?" I held it up to the light. "The gray," I said. "Clay, holds water. That is the enemy." She smiled, quick and proud. "Good," she said. "You can learn." I caught myself looking at her mouth, the way it curved around the words. I looked away fast. Focus was a habit, not a gift. Later, I took the trash out to the side yard. The rain had slowed to a mist. The ground was slick. A small piece of metal caught the light in the grass. I bent and picked it up. A silver hair clip. Simple. Strong. Like her. I turned it once in my hand. Then I slid it into my pocket. The next morning, my phone buzzed with an internal email from Apex. "Residential project update." I almost deleted it. Residential was not my lane. A subject line stopped me. Rivergate Residences. Grade revision approved. Rivergate. That was the name on the banner next door. I opened the attachment. My eyes went straight to the small notes most people skipped. Benchmark B had been moved. Just a detail on paper, but it changed everything. With the new numbers, the official grade sent runoff off-site. Off-site was a nice word. Off-site was her yard. My stomach tightened. I printed the file and went to see my boss. Marcus sat behind his desk, with his sleeves rolled up, staring at his own stack of problems. He looked up when I stepped in. "Carter," he said. "What is it?" Quote. I set the printout in front of him. "Residential changed benchmark B," I said. "The new slope sends water into a private yard. It is loading a retaining wall. The wall is moving. If it fails, it will be tied to our name." "Residential is not your division," he said. "The water does not care," I said. "The load does not care either. When it fails, the headline will have one word in it. Apex." He rubbed his forehead. This is political, he said. The Rivergate project has city eyes on it. Do not get involved. Math is not political, I said. If they force runoff into her wall, that is cause. If they pretend it is not, that is a lie. Marcus looked at me for a long second. Residential PM says the old wall is compromised, he said. They say they are within permit. Within permit is not the same as within physics, I said. If that wall goes, it will be on us. His voice dropped. Carter, he said, not your circus. I stood there, hearing my own old rule thrown back at me. It tasted bad now. I left his office without arguing. Arguing with him would not move a wall or stop a storm. I drove straight home. Renata was in her yard with her phone pressed to her ear, walking a tight line near the fence. I cannot move the office, she was saying. The equipment loans are tied to this address. She saw me and ended the call. What now? She asked. Apex Residential revised the grade. I said, holding up the printed email. They changed benchmark B. That sends water right here. She took the paper and read. Her face went still. You are sure, she said. I do not speak unless I am sure, I said. They changed the environment, then blamed your wall. Vance is not here by accident. He wants your failure to cover their numbers. Renata's jaw clenched. So what now? She asked again. Now, I said, we get their own files, and we make it impossible for them to deny what they did. Her eyes met mine. There was fear there, but there was also something else. Trust. Then do it, she said. But be smart. I can lose this house. I do not want to lose you too. That hit harder than the last storm. I will be smart, I said. I touched the folded paper in my pocket and felt the small shape of her hair clip beside it. 2 pieces of metal, one cold, one warm, both worth fighting for. Apex's downtown office looked different at midnight. The glass tower that always felt loud in the day was quiet and hollow, just lights humming and cleaners moving like ghosts. My badge still worked. I rode the elevator up with my heart steady and my brain too awake. I was not breaking in. I was walking into the place that still signed my checks. For now. Residential files were on a separate server. I did not have direct access. But there was an old audit tool we used when projects overlapped. Read only. For risk checks. I opened it. A red bar flashed across the top of the screen. Unauthorized access detected. Security alert in 60 seconds. My pulse kicked up for real this time. I requested an audit token and typed a reason in the box. Adjacent property failure risk. Hydrostatic pressure. Immediate review. The timer counted down. 58, 57, 56. No response. At 40 seconds, I thought about closing the window. I could walk away. Keep my job. Let the wall fail. Tell myself it was not my circus. I pictured Renata in her basement, hands shaking just once before she moved again. I pictured the way her voice had dropped when she said she did not want to lose me too. 33, 32. My screen blinked. Temporary audit token granted. Read only. 10 minutes. All activity recorded. Fine. Recorded meant someone was watching. Someone would know exactly what I did. I did not scroll. I hunted. Grade revision folder. Survey logs. Approval chain. Email threads. I moved my cursor like I was disarming a bomb. No extra clicks, no curiosity, no HR, no payroll. Just the path I needed. There it was. A short email. Adjust benchmark B to redirect runoff off-site. Keep it clean. Off-site. Her yard. My jaw locked. I pulled the full thread. The request. The approval. The change drawing with the new slope. A warning banner popped again at the bottom of my screen. Unauthorized access alert. Pending. 15 seconds. I exported the email thread. The benchmark changelog. The drainage diagram. Screenshots. Print. The printer down the hall woke up with a low grind. Pages started to slide out. The alert timer hit 0. Nothing happened. Which meant someone had chosen to let it ride. Someone in IT or above had seen the request and decided not to shut it down. I grabbed the still warm pages from the printer, stacked them, and walked toward the elevator. Not fast, not slow, normal, calm. A security guard came around the corner. "Working late?" he asked. I lifted my badge. "Night audit," I said. It was not a lie. Not really. His radio crackled. A voice I did not recognize said my name. The guard looked down, then up again. I stepped into the elevator as the doors slid shut. In the lobby, my phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. "Residential called. We need to talk." The crash was not an alarm. The crash came 2 days later at Town Hall. The hearing room was full. Neighbors, reporters, city staff, Apex people in suits in the second row, Vance at the front with a lawyer at his shoulder. Renata sat alone at the petition table. Back straight, hair pulled back, hands folded so tight her knuckles were white. Her eyes flicked to me when I walked in. I sat beside her and put the folder on the table between us. "I brought steel," I said under my breath. She gave the smallest nod I had ever seen. But it was there. Vance spoke first. He painted a picture with clean words. Old wall, unsafe conditions, responsible developer, stubborn owner refusing to take a generous buyout. Smiles, pity. Then Apex's residential project manager talked about permits and plans, and how they followed every approved drawing, how the wall was never their problem. Then it was our turn. "My name is Carter Hayes," I said, standing. "I am a structural engineer with Apex Commercial Division. I am here as an independent expert, not as a company spokesperson." Marcus shifted in his seat behind me. I felt his eyes on my back. I handed copies of my packet to the clerk, the chairwoman, and the city engineer. "These are internal documents from Apex Residential," I said. "They show that benchmark B was changed. That change forces surface runoff toward Ms. Albright's wall. It increases hydrostatic pressure and lateral load the wall was never designed to take." Vance shot to his feet. "Objection! These materials were obtained without authorization," he said. "Mr. Hayes accessed files he had no right to see." The chairwoman looked at me. "Is that true?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "My access is logged. The risk tool is meant for cross-division problems. This is a cross-division problem." Vance pounced. "So this is revenge," he said. "A rogue employee trying to impress a woman." I did not take the bait. If I wanted to impress her, I said, I would bring flowers. "I brought elevations." A small ripple went through the room. Not laughter exactly, just people exhaling. I turned back to the board. "Drainage follows slope," I said. With the old benchmark, water went south, away from her wall. With the revised one, it goes east, straight into her yard. Into this wall. When water builds up behind a retaining wall, pressure builds with depth. You cannot see it from the street, but the wall feels it. I sketched a quick rectangle on a blank sheet, drew arrows pushing from one side. "This is hydrostatic pressure," I said. Pressure equals the weight of water times depth. More depth. More push. The wall bulged after the last storm because someone changed how the water moved. The city engineer leaned forward. "These elevations," he said, flipping pages. "Where did they come from?" "Laser measurements taken on site," I said. "Here are photos of the rod positions. I will do it again with your team if you want." The chairwoman picked up the email I had printed, the one with a line that had stuck in my head. "Adjust benchmark B to redirect runoff off-site. Keep it clean," she read aloud. "Who wrote this?" Quote. Vance's lawyer spoke quickly. "We cannot confirm the authenticity of that email," he said. "Even if it is real, it does not show intent to harm." "It shows intent to move water," I said. "Where do you think off-site is in this case?" Her wall did not change. Their grade did. The room went quiet. The chairwoman spoke again. "Is there any evidence that Ms. Albright's wall was inspected before the Rivergate project began?" she asked. The city engineer shook his head slowly. "Not beyond standard survey photos," he said. "No focused structural review." Quote, the chairwoman nodded once, then she set the email down. "This hearing is suspended, pending further investigation," she said. "Condemnation is denied." Apex Residential is ordered to halt excavation adjacent to the wall and install temporary drainage relief under city supervision. Her gavel hit the block. The sound rang like a hammer to me. Renata let out a long breath beside me. Her hand moved under the table. It brushed mine and stayed there, warm, real. In the hallway, people thinned out. Voices bounced off marble. Marcus caught up with me. "Carter," he said. His voice was low, tight. "You are done." I did not pretend to misunderstand. "I figured," I said. "You accessed another division server," he said. "You put the company on record in a public hearing." "I put physics on record," I said. "The company did that to itself." He looked away for a second. When he met my eyes again, there was something like regret in his. "I did not want this," he said. "I did," I answered. "I just do not like the price." That does not mean it was the wrong call. Quote, he shook his head and walked away. I watched him go. My chest felt strange. Light and heavy at the same time, like someone had unhooked a harness I had worn for years. When I turned back, Renata was standing there. She stepped closer, not hiding behind me. Next to me. I took the small silver hair clip from my pocket and held it out. "You dropped this in the mud," I said. Her eyes widened. "You kept it," she said. "I keep what matters," I said. "I did not want him watching you lose anything you did not choose to drop." Her fingers closed over the clip. She did not pull away. She looked up and searched my face like she was scanning a plan for weak points. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly. "Why risk your job for my wall, my house, my mess?" Quote, I could have said something about ethics, about duty, about how numbers did not care who got hurt. All of that was true. Instead, I told her the part that had been sitting in my chest since the first night. "Because you are the strongest thing I know," I said. "And I do not tear down strong things. I support them." Quote, her hand slid from the clip to my wrist. She tugged me down that last inch. The kiss was not soft. It hit like a clean impact with good alignment. Firm, certain, equal. When we broke apart, her forehead rested against mine for a second. I could feel her smile. "Monday," she said, "they will fire you." "I know," I said. "Come over after," she said. Not a question. "Yeah," I said. "I will." They fired me exactly like I expected. A folder, a meeting with HR. Marcus could not meet my eyes this time. "Policy," they said. "Convenience," I answered. I walked out with a cardboard box and my license, and no regrets. That afternoon, my phone rang. "Carter," Renata said. "The city crews are here. They are cutting a trench behind the wall, installing pipe and gravel. They are making the water go somewhere else." "I am coming over," I said. When I stepped into her yard, the wall looked the same, but the ground behind it was open now. Workers laid perforated pipe, wrapped it in fabric, covered it with clean stone. Water finally had a way out. Renata stood beside me, arms crossed against the wind. We watched the first little trickle run from the new drain outlet. "That's it," she said softly. "That's what I needed from the beginning." "Relief," I said. "Every system needs it." She looked at the wall, then at me. "You lost your job," she said. "I did not lose my work," I said. "I still know how to keep things standing." Her hand slid to my forearm. She squeezed once, firm. No apology, no pity, just contact. "Come over tonight," she said. "Is that a request or a condition?" I asked. Her eyes flashed. "My choice," she said. "Good," I said. "I like clear variables." She smiled, real this time. Not tired, not forced. The wall was not safe forever yet. The storm lines were not done. The fight with Apex was not over. But for the first time since the excavator showed up, I felt something other than pressure. I felt the start of a new load path forming. From me to her. From her to me. Something built to carry weight. Together. 2 weeks later, the yard finally started to behave like a yard again. The ground dried in slow circles. The soft line near the wall grew firm under my boots. The drain outlet trickled clear after a rain and then went quiet. the way it should have from the start. The wall held. So did she. I picked up more small jobs around town. A warehouse brace here, a small bridge check there. Word spread fast in a city that pretended it did not gossip. People liked a guy who had gone against his own company for a neighbor. The investigation into Apex Residential moved slower. City engineers pulled more files. Lawyers asked questions. My name came up enough that I stopped counting. I went in and answered every question the same way. These are the numbers. This is the load. This is what changed. At night, I still heard the excavator sometimes in my head. Scoop, hiss, slam. The rhythm of the first day. But when I stepped onto my porch now, that machine was gone. The trench was filled. The banner next door had been taken down. The only sound was the wind and the faint noise of someone's radio. One afternoon, I was on my porch fixing a loose railing when I heard her gate latch click. Renata walked across the grass in work boots and a gray hoodie. Her hair was pulled up, the silver clip holding it in place, the one I had picked up from the mud. She stopped at the bottom of my steps and held up a single key on a plain ring. "My shower head is leaking," she said. I wiped sawdust from my hands and came down the steps. "You want me to look at it?" I said. She shook her head once. "I dare you to come over," she said, "and stay inside." Something in my chest shifted. I held out my hand. She put the key in my palm. Her fingers brushed mine and did not rush away. "Okay," I said. Her house smelled like coffee and fresh-cut wood, and the last batch of something she had baked and forgotten to eat. The kitchen island was still covered in plans and schedules. The whiteboard still had crew names and jobs, but there was space cleared now, space that looked like it was waiting for more. The shower head in the hall bath had a slow drip hitting the tub. A small problem, a normal one. I turned the water off at the valve, wrapped the arm, and took the head off. The rubber washer inside was worn down to a thin ring. "Overworked and underpaid," I said, holding it up. "Relatable," she said from the doorway. I knelt on the edge of the tub, replaced the washer, reseated the threads, and tightened it down just enough. "Try it," I said. She turned the water on. No drip. Just a clean stream where it was supposed to be. "You fix things," she said. "I reinforce," I said. "Things that should stand. I do not fix what is meant to fall." She stepped into the bathroom fully now. There was not much space between us. Her shoulder brushed my arm. "You fixed my wall," she said. "I caught the load before it failed," I said. "That is different." "You lost your job for it," she said. "I lost a position," I said. I kept my line. She studied my face like a plan that had to be right the first time. "You do not flinch," she said. "I flinch later," I said. "When the numbers stop moving." She took a slow breath and let it out. "Support me," she said. Her voice was not soft. It was steady, like an engineer reading final specs. "I am," I said. "No," she said. "Not just the wall, not just the case. Support me. Here." Her hand caught the front of my shirt, not tight, just enough to pull my eyes to hers. "I was serious the first day," she said. "When I said, 'You better not waste my time, I have had it wasted before.'" I knew she was not talking about the wall now. I nodded. "I am not here to waste anything," I said. "I am here because I want to be, not for a dare, not for a project, for you." Her eyes searched mine. "Looking for hairline cracks, microfractures, the things that show up before a failure." "I work long hours," she said. "I get stubborn. I forget to sleep. I obsess over details that no one else sees. I am not easy." "I am a man who argues with water," I said. "You are not scaring me." She huffed out one short breath that might have been a laugh if it did not sound so close to a sigh. "Then stay," she said. It was a single word. Heavy. Simple. "I will," I said. "If you tell me when the load feels like too much." Quote. Her fingers in my shirt pressed in once. "Then support me," she whispered again. "I waited a heartbeat. No rush, no push. Then I slid my hand over hers on my chest, holding it there. "Okay," I said. "We do this like a good wall. No hidden pressure, no surprise load." Her mouth twitched. "You are not going to stop with the metaphors, are you?" she said. "Probably not," I said. She nodded once. "Then kiss me," she said. "And do not make it polite." I moved in slow enough that she could change her mind and fast enough that she would not think I was unsure. She met me halfway. The kiss landed hard and clean. No wobble, no second guessing. Her hand fisted in my shirt. My other hand slid to the back of her neck, supporting, not trapping. She tasted like coffee and garlic, and something warm that felt like home. When we finally broke apart, she rested her forehead against mine. "I knew it," she said. "Knew what?" I asked. "That first day," she said. "When you walked across the lawn and tried to ask me out while the excavator was eating my yard. Your eyes told me you wanted to stay, not just for one date, for the whole thing." She pulled back just enough to see my face. "Do you?" she asked. "Still?" "Yeah," I said, "more than I did that day." We walked out to the back porch later, 2 mugs in our hands. The wall sat solid in the fading light. The drain we had fought for was doing its quiet job, letting water go without a fight. "If the investigation goes bad," she said, "if Apex tries to bury this, if they come after me again, you do not owe me anything." "I already picked my side," I said. "They can bury my name, they cannot bury the truth, and they cannot tell me where to stand." She looked at me for a long second. "Partner," she said. The word hit deeper than any job title I had ever had. "Partner," I said back. The next time a storm rolled in, we watched it from her porch together. The rain hit hard. The gutters filled. The drain behind the wall whispered as it carried the weight away. The wall did what it was supposed to do. So did I. Across the street, another lot had an excavator on it now. Scoop, hiss, slam. Some other project. Some other problem. Not ours. Renata slid her hand into mine and laced our fingers together. "So," she said, "how does it feel, failing your friend's dare?" I frowned. "What?" I asked. $50 says you will not make it to her top step," she said, imitating Charlie's tone almost perfectly. I laughed. Really laughed, for the first time in a long time. "I think I won," I said. She squeezed my hand. "You did," she said. "You just did not know the prize yet." The excavator growled in the distance. The storm clouds moved on. Her house stood firm beside mine. Load shared, weight carried. That first day she had said, "You better not waste my time." Standing beside her now, her hand in mine, I knew one thing for certain. I had not.